There have been many official LEGO Wolverines, all of them basically being here other than the Microfighter, and I went over these all in my every X-Men in my collection video. If you want to see that, check out the video in the corner, but I've been pretty happy with the amount of suits and different variations that LEGO has put out, so I've never really had a strong feeling that I needed a custom figure in my collection, but when I got an opportunity to get a deal on the KO Customs Chrome Claw or Wolverine, I jumped on it, and I'm very excited to check this out since I love their figures. So let's go ahead and get it onto the stand. Getting Chrome Claw on the stand, you can see why they named them that, because this Wolverine actually has chrome-plated LEGO claws. They are the official piece. On the back, you can see the different logos that are in the mold. And I am liking the look here. It's going to be pretty close to the one from the mech, but I think this one just has some better detailing and is a lot more comic-esque. Plus, you get the printed legs. The actual closest comparison, though, would be the CMF version of the minifigure. This one in yellow, this one in the bright orange. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to just move over the shoulder pads to this minifigure, which I would have liked to do. We'll definitely take a look at that later, but it comes with the older style of Wolverine mask. It is the official part, not the custom molded one, which they also made. One thing I'll point out that I thought was a bit goofy is you can see that the face on the head is printed pretty low, and I think that is just to account for the fact that the mask ends up cutting off the faces of the actual LEGO minifigures, so you lower the mouth on them. You get two options, and that way it lines up better with where the molded mask ends up being put on the head. I'm a bit bummed out that they did the just white line for the mask instead of the goggles that LEGO kind of made the standard. But at least now, if you rotate the mask a bit, it's not going to cut off the eyes at all. So you get the angry face and a bit more of a smiling one. You know, here's the angry one. We'll see those again later, since they do also give you the unmasked head with the same face options, basically. But getting that mask off again, I think the flesh is looking a little tan, where it's not going to match the arms, unfortunately. But since they are broken up by the yellows, it's not going to be as noticeable. And you can see there's a little bit of the mutton chop design on the head still. The blue's looking good on the shoulder pads, though. That matches very well to the blue on the plastics. Arms printing with some muscle and some hair. Looks pretty good, and it does have a glove top printed as well. So you can see the difference there. LEGO did print some hair on theirs, but there isn't that extra blue, so a little bit of extra detailing there. I'll just pop these shoulder pads off quick, and they will be compatible with the version from the mech. Obviously, if you switched out the blues for lighter blues, it would look better probably. I switched out for the dark blues, though, to match the tiger striping instead of the brighter blues and no blue on the underwear section. So overall, decent look. Let's toss these on another version, like the CMF version. And honestly, the yellows don't stand out as being different colors as much as I thought they would. You would need to switch the arms out as well for this to make it work, since it does have the shoulder pads being printed on the arms. I think this would be a decent look too. I do really like this figure, and it'll be good to compare the custom version to this one. Let's get back to the KO version of the figure, which, as being an expensive custom minifigure, I guess I maybe would have wanted a little more. I'm not usually a side torso printing person, but when it is a simpler design like this, maybe that's something I would look for in this case, since the belt would probably continue around, or it would have even been cool to see the tiger striping continue. That's not necessarily KO style, though. They go pretty much for the LEGO aesthetic or design, what they would do themselves. So when they get to those wraparound legs, you get side printing, front printing, basically. And for me, I think it goes a little bit between which one's better. LEGO did get that extra little bit of flair on the legs on the side, instead of this one being straight across. But on this one, they did get the extra little bit of trunk printing on the side. So some trade-offs there. And you can see with how they did the front of the legs, it does kind of make sense that they wouldn't go up into the angle, since the sharp point is in the front. And you know what? There are comics where they probably look like this, and I noticed this is a much more animated show where it goes all the way up the sides. So it's just preference for design and the specific reference you look at the time. But I can't really complain about the printing. I think the darker yellow on the torso looks good for the shading. The arm wraparound looks pretty good here too. Looks like there might be a little bit of a flaw on the minifigure's left arm, but pretty minor. And like I already kind of mentioned, that blue matches the plastic perfectly. No issues there. And let's just test the bend test for the legs. They're blue plastic, so when you move the legs, you're not going to have any issues with the printing breaking up, leaking any yellow onto the legs, so you're free to pose this in whatever way you want to, whether he's running or something like that, and it'll be pretty much flawless. No weird inconsistencies there, because that is a problem with a lot of the official LEGO minifigures when there is that front leg printing, so good to see it improved on this minifigure. Plus, like I mentioned, you do get a civilian head as well to be the unmasked version. The hairpiece here is not an official part, and the copy that I got is very loose and it'll probably fall off. So I'll just have to figure out an order to buy another one of those hairpieces. Probably not going to be super rare since they have been around for several years. But yeah, you can see sliding off a little too much for my taste. You get the smiling one and the angry one, which will be the exact same as on this head. You get the angry one, turn it around, you get the smiling one, but mouth is a little bit more squished, but I'm assuming they are basically the same design. Overall, the detailing on the faces is pretty good. I like the stubble printing mixed with the solid beard mutton chop lines. Eyebrows are a bit goofy to me maybe, where they do feel a little thick and cartoonish. But again, probably just the specific artist that they like that drew Wolverine that way. It looks perfect for that. The artists, go back and forth on what they like for the design, so really can't knock them for that. And just tossing on the official hairpiece. I'm noticing it's also loose, so maybe just this head is the issue and not the hairpieces. So that is too bad. And I'm redacting my statement. I'm looking at these two hairpieces and they are the exact same. So it is an official one of this black hairpiece. It must just be the head is not molded in a certain way to have it stick. So that is too bad. Let's just check the slicked back hair that they kind of updated for Wolverine in the X-Men 97 sets. Does stay. Another good option, I guess, since the vampire sort of pointed look isn't going to fit. I think it looks pretty good on this head. I didn't like it as much on the collectible minifigure, and you can just see it on the other side. Both those are looking good. I do like that the striping continues on the back, just like on the official one. And best part about these custom figures is when they print the belts, there's not that extra bit of yellow sticking out at the bottom. They're basically able to print right up to the legs. Printed legs are also just a nice touch where even on the back they have that little bit of blue, even though it is just that little sliver there. Always making the figures just look a little better, and that's what I like about KO Customs. I'm just going to go ahead and fig barf one more version of Wolverine to show that off, and that'll just be the CMF minifigure completely upgraded. You got the hairy arms with the glove tops, shoulder pads, and this is an awesome figure here. Not that this one is in grade 2, I'll probably keep all the custom parts with this one, but here's an idea of what you could use with the parts if you ended up with a second copy somehow. Just wanted to show this off. And this just shows what I love about KO Customs is that their parts are so compatible. You throw it on a LEGO minifigure, doesn't really stand out too much. The extra arm detailing is probably a bit extra compared to what LEGO would do. I mean, you saw the arms earlier where there's just a couple hairlines, but isn't super jarring since it is just on the side. You look at it from the front and really you just see the extra hair a little bit more than the muscles, but loving this figure. Let's go ahead and get to some comparisons and the final verdict. I always love when you film a definitive video like every X-Men minifigure in my collection and it's already outdated like a week or two later. But here's all those Wolverines in a line and the custom version. You can see what I'd say though, where LEGO's getting pretty dang close, Shoulder pads would have definitely improved this minifigure a lot, but even the subtle things like the chrome cloths instead of the metallic silver are just such an upgrade. Do like the face prints as well, especially the unmasked one. Plus, having the mouth a little lower on there does make the mask work a lot better for the face design, where it's not just blocking it. Comparing it to some other KO and custom minifigures like the Sabretooth here, you're going to want to see those two together. And some of the KO figures that came out around the same time, being their first Iceman and then Beast, which I think was released in the exact same wave. Magneto too. All of KO's minifigures are going to fit along perfectly with official superhero minifigures and especially official X-Men minifigures, like I've showed off in all their reviews. So you're going to have no problem sliding this one in with the official Magneto or any of the other custom minifigures you might have for X-Men and official X-Men. Sliding one out quick for another comparison. Here is the 90s Jean Grey. This one in yellow though now, so it'll match more of the 97 Wolverine, but those look good together too. Let me know though which version of Wolverine ends up being your favorite. I have upgraded these a little bit, like the shoulder pads or the legs, but all of these are pretty good options. And of course, the 97 version I took off too. If you want to see more custom Lego X-Men reviews or Lego X-Men videos overall, check out all the videos on my channel. I've been Brick Radiop, and I'll see you in the next video.